unfortunately, the fact is that the manufacturing of today, which is high-tech, very autonomous, automated, highly information, digital technology based, doesn't create jobs. The jobs in India can be created, and that's where our genius lies essentially, is in the services sector. So continuing with the example for the semiconductors, the biggest employment in India today is in IT services, and even related to semiconductors. We have 20% of the global, at the minimum, 20% of the chip designers in the world, all the data analytics and others are from India. So that is where the services would be we don't unfortunately focus on that. But by default, since we don't interfere too much in that area, in the services, the government doesn't, and that's largely come up in the private sector, we are doing relatively well. So instead of focusing too much on the government, investing in the loss-making units like Air India and now in MTNLs and BSNLs and wasting the money, if we transfer that money in creating the abilities and the skills for Indians to serve from India, as well as by going out, the $100 billion remittance to India this year is a vote of confidence on the ability of Indians to provide global scale services. We have many of the global CEOs which come up in the news very often, but look at the workforce of the world in the IT and the ESG and the new field, you find those are largely Indians. So that is where we need to end. The people can get employed or create value in services.
Point of jobs, we should also think that the self-employment and being able to have in the towns and villages convert their entrepreneurship into throughput also as a part of growth engine as well as job creation.
I agree that entrepreneurship, self-employment is the only way out for job creation. We have to focus. Areas can be different. We can choose. There are many areas. There cannot be a limited number of areas where job creation can take place, but there are areas, and as government will prioritize as for their resources, the government is the best judge which areas have a higher multiplier impact on the investment and everything. So job creation is one important thing. And second, when Sonal ji has said that job creation is a byproduct of growth, everybody, I think all the panelists agree here that growth is the only way through which job creation can take place. Otherwise, just employment generation is not possible. So the thing is, one thing in this area I would like to say is that we have to be more clear. Even our young population in education system, because of wrong definition of perception about naukri, that the education system at the universities has suffered. I think we have to create more mindset clarity, and that job in our mind also, in discussion also, and young people also, that definition of job is different. You have to work on self-employment, self-entrepreneurship.
When we talk about jobs, Mr. Subhash had mentioned that service sector. You remember, Rajiv, 8 years back, we started Make in India program, 8 years back. What happened to that? I mean, is finance minister not responsible to come out with a paper that this is what we achieved in Make in India, or this is what we had not achieved, let us put this in dustbin and start with something new? So that scheme is not able to give anything to us as far as the manufacturing excellence or the jobs creations are concerned. So we had not focused on the service sector, I agree. And everybody sitting on this panel will accept this, that once upon a time, we are known in the world as a service sector superpower. That know-how or the technology or the inventions are coming from our country. But had we done a proper investment in a new service sector technology, maybe 3D printing or maybe AI or maybe ML, had we done anything new investment?
Conversation we've had so far in terms of how to create growth ultimately has to be the answer to how we create jobs. I think one needs to be very, very clear that a Narega or any version of that is basically a fallback option, which is what you use when nothing else is available. We do not want to be putting more money into fallback options, which are sort of social security kind of schemes, but basically creating growth opportunities which create jobs. As I said earlier, I'm firmly of the view that we need to take an all-round approach to creating growth. So it cannot be just manufacturing. It has to be, within agriculture, the processing industries, within services. And I think, maybe this is linked both to the subsidy question and the jobs question. See, ultimately, India as a country, we are going through a journey and we ultimately want to be in a much better place. So whoever we are hand-holding, whether we are doing it via the subsidies on the PLI or whatever other subsidies that we are giving, is a transitionary support and cannot be made permanent. So while you are supporting those who really need the support at the current stage, at the same time, the focus needs to be how do you get them away from this support and become more self-driven going forward, which is creating these growth opportunities.
I feel that manufacturing job creation can only be in the micro sector. And there is only two problems to the micro sector. They don't require money from you. They require technologic help from you. And they require market, you introduce them to the market. These are the two issues. All other things, as far as capital is concerned, as far as the product is concerned, they know what to do, they know how much capital is required, and they are ready to put that capital also. So these are two issues where government intervention is required. And these two government interventions will create not jobs in lakhs, in crores, because that is the potential of that particular sector. Second, we have to come out with a high-end service sector technology at our place. See, what happened in 80s and 90s, because of which service sector got a boom, that we entered into a high-end software industry. We came to BPO and call centers in the 2005, 2010. But earlier we had created softwares. We gave to the world that these are the softwares, these are the codes, and these softwares and the codes are going to help you in these areas. So we require a high-end software industry which is focused on AI, ML, 3D, and analytics. Because these are four big job creators in the days to come in the service industry.